Yes, people, welcome to another edition of From a Fair Eye View on Pi Radio, hosted by myself, Flawless Mr. Take Note. I'm joined by my fellow co-host, JV, Mr. I've seen more in the night than you've seen in your life, Bloodstro. And we have I know you love the intro. I know you love the intro, Miles, but we have a very, very special guest, United Stand cameraman.
In the building.
United Stand OG cameraman Miles. Yo, welcome back to the show, fam, man. Like, appreciate you coming on again.
Love boys, man. Love it.
Yo, we gotta give it up for you, fam. You give it up.
Give it up for you, man, as well. I'm loving this little vibe we got going on. Everyone's jumping on each other's shows. I love it.
Man, appreciate it, man. I'm waiting for the Cameraman Miles show. I know that's
coming. We'll see.
I'm
waiting, man.
I know, man. But you be out here winding people up and stuff like that online, so I know it's coming.
I have to, bro. I have
to. But yeah, people, we've had Cameraman Miles on the show before. But as always, if you are listening to this live now on Pi Radio, immediately after this live stream, so at 8 o'clock, the video will go out on the Sarcasm City YouTube. And then the audio will be on the Pi Radio, Spotify, and iTunes on the Tuesday or Wednesday. Big up Pi Radio, download the Pi Radio app and check out all the other shows. But let's get into the show. Anyway, where we're going to start is, we'll start with Newcastle. That's where we're going. And since you're the special guest, Miles, we'll let you start. So what's your thoughts on the possibility of Newcastle what's your thoughts on Newcastle being taken over by the billionaires of Saudi? Or billionaires from Saudi?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what other people's viewpoint on it, but I feel like I'm going to come from a different viewpoint and say that I think it's about damn time. Because for Newcastle, especially, I have a soft spot for Newcastle. They've been a mainstay in the Premier League for forever, since I was a kid. I've always had a soft spot for them. Massive stadium, massive fan base. I went to their stadium for the very first time this season with United Stand. Everything about Newcastle for me is like classy. Like I love the way the club is. The stadium is lit. The fans are very welcoming. The only problem they've got is that guy upstairs. So I've got a big soft spot for them, so I'm actually quite happy for them if this thing happens, and I think they deserve it more than someone like City did. Do you know what I mean? Like City were doing nothing and had been doing nothing for the longest time, and then they just get billions dashed on them like it's nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? All they did was twerk for their Saudi man, and then they got their money. You know what I'm saying? Like, hell, man. So Newcastle been out here grinding, you know, like it's how it goes in life, you know, like that girl or that person who doesn't deserve anything, she's been twerking bare, gets that man to dash the money on her, but the hard working ones, they don't get nothing. Now they're getting their time, bro. Give them the money.
Alright, that's your thoughts on it. JV, what was your initial thoughts on it?
I just think it's mad because you know what? You know, when you think of all the teams who have been took over, you even look at even teams like Aston Villa have had a foreign owner. You know what I mean? How in all this time no one's ever thought of Newcastle is pretty mad. Do you get what I mean? Like, if you really think about it, yeah. When, like, all right, Chelsea got took over, Liverpool have had theirs, we've had our City. If you're talking about, as Miles said, mainstays in the Premier League, other than your Arsenal, you'd probably then go for a Newcastle. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
If you was doing it from a strictly footballing viewpoint, Newcastle would probably be one of the clubs you would go for first. Do you get what I mean? And that probably comes down to these people who are taking over the clubs not really having that much knowledge of the Premier League. Because for me, number one, Newcastle will probably, this guy, even though he's going to pump a lot of money into it, he's probably going to get a lot of money back. He's probably going to get a lot of money back from Newcastle, simply from the supporters, number one. If he then extends that stadium, yeah, I don't know. I've never been to the ground, so I don't know where it's based, if it's one of them that can be or not.
Huge.
It's, if I'm not mistaken, I think it is. I think it's the third biggest in terms of club. I think United, obviously Old Trafford's bigger, Emirates is bigger. And I think Newcastle may be third.
The number is, yes, it is
a big stadium. I think Newcastle may be third. They're definitely top five.
Tottenham's now.
Oh yeah, forgot about Spurs. Yeah, forgot about
top
Spurs.
Five easy. Top five easy.
Definitely top five. Forgot about Spurs because
it's round about the 50,000 mark. I know that it's round about if it's just below 50,000 or just above. But with the solid support they get every week, if you upped that to I don't know, a 60,000 or 70,000, they'd probably fill it anyway. Do you know what I mean? They'd probably continue to fill it. You know what I mean? I reckon, even though, as I said, it's probably full all the time, that's not all the support. If they could get extra people in that stadium, extra season tickets and all of that type of stuff, it would be something that would profit the club very much. Just with that loyal fan base, you've seen how they were in the Kevin Keegan days. You know what I mean? They were the
reason why I'm laughing at Kevin Keegan, because as soon as you think about him in Newcastle, you just think, I love it if you beat them. Love it. Like,
but that's what I mean.
It's a legendary moment. That's why I started laughing as soon as you said Kevin Keegan.
If you know what's mad? You know, if you think of that time at the club, if you think of them, then they were literally like, that title was theirs to lose and they lost it. Yeah. But say he didn't have that meltdown and he was a bit stronger, and they probably even then got in a better manager after that, they could have been a real problem.
Yes, people, we are back. Some technical difficulties there, but yeah, go on, JV, continue.
Yeah, so just more to the point, I was saying with Newcastle, it would probably be the first club, if I was a billionaire, not the first club, but the first club of who's left after the top four. Newcastle will probably be the first one I would have thought of to take over. You know what I mean? You've got your Aston Villas who've been taken over. Your Evertons have even been taken over by foreign owners, and they don't have the strong fan base. To be honest, I think Newcastle could argue they have the best fan base in the country. They could argue that, and there's not many. I don't think there's many people who could argue with that. Yeah, United Stadium might be a lot more fuller because we've got more people, but I'd say a lot of them are tourists. I say Newcastle every week has 50,000, not 50,000 because they have some away fans, but their capacity is probably full of Geordies.
Oh, so you know what I mean? All Geordies is all die. Yeah. I reckon United, I put Liverpool in that as well, both have the capabilities of doing that. I don't think it happens because of their attractions and tourists, but I reckon
that's what I mean.
Yeah, Liverpool could fill Anfield with all Scousers, same way United fills United fans with all Manx, I think.
Definitely. Definitely. I'm not doubting that one bit. But me living next to the United ground for how many years? On a Saturday morning, the amount of tourists, man has to direct it. Well, which way to the ground, mate? You know what I mean? Just go to the bottom of this road, go straight down, take your left, and you're there. You know what I mean? Man was doing how many years? You know what I mean? So I know just from living around there and going to the shop on a Saturday morning, it's not a bad thing. It's because of the success. It's majority, not majority, but there's a lot of tourist fans. Whereas I would say, I don't think there's anyone coming from China to watch Newcastle play on a Saturday at 12 midday. You get what I
mean? Yeah, I don't think so either.
I'm getting that. But if they were to capitalize on, having such a big fan base, as I said, maybe expand the ground, they would be able to draw in those type of fans, and that would be an extra bonus for the club. Because as I said, I think that the fan base is strong anyway. If half of these people who were taking over the clubs, these billionaires, really hired some consultants and looked up the teams in the league, they'd know that Newcastle is a pure football city. For mine, even the Sunderland, you know what I mean? It's that whole area, they're a bit football mad. You know what I mean?
Northeast, crazy.
It's a pure football city, Newcastle. So to me, that is why I think that was back to my original point. Sorry, that's why I think they would be even more of a problem, because even if you look at it, it's not the fact that they would be able to spend a lot of money. I think Fulham came up a few years ago and spent 100 mil. Do you know what I mean? So it's not having the money, but if and this was my original point as well, if they get the proper back room in terms of management, the board and everything to lead them, they could be a serious problem moving on, because as I said, they've got everything else equipped. You know what I mean? We all troll City for not being able to fill their ground, but that's something they struggle with still to now. After how many years after being bought out? Do you know what I mean? Newcastle do that, with fans having to go and watch John Joe Shelby and Rondon up front.
Almiron and that madness.
Yeah. You got Matt Ritchie just wilding on the left, just whipping in crosses for no one. You know what I mean? But and these man go and watch that every week, knowing that's what's going to happen. Do you get what I'm saying?
Man said Matt Ritchie is fast though.
That's the level. I've gone again. That's the level of loyalty, though. You get what I'm saying? That's the level of loyalty.
That is, sorry to cut you off. That is a true fan base to go and watch Matt Ritchie week in, week out.
Week in, week out. That's a long staff.
Long staff, you know. Not one long staff, two long
Two
staff.
of them. Two of them.
Like, you must be a loyal fan, you know. Like,
yeah, that's what I mean.
That's funny, that.
Those type of teams.
God.
I rate those type of fans more, you know, because they're loyal. Yeah. They're loyal. Yeah. You go to a United match. I've heard United fans, you know, 1 minute praise a player, next minute say he's terrible. I've heard Liverpool fans say, "Oh, the loser they lost those games the other day." I heard a Liverpool fan say, "Oh yeah, Klopp's had his time." It's like, what the hell? These man watch mediocrity. I know I didn't say that word right, but yeah, they watch that every week.
You landed that nice.
All right, cool. They watch that type of level of football week in, week out and cheer to the last minute. You know what I mean? It's one of the hardest places to go to in the league, whether you're in form, whether you're the best team, whether you're the smallest team. So all of these factors have been overlooked. But I think someone's probably come to it won't surprise me if this owner or someone around him has pointed Newcastle out to him. Do you get what I mean? Because he could easily try and take over a club that's already had an owner. If he's got that amount of money, he could easily go and say, all right, I'll have this club, I'll have that club, even though they've already been taken over. He's probably had someone give him a nudge and say, wait, if you want a club, have a look at this one. Yeah. So that's just my view on it.
If you get rid of, sorry, all I was going to say was that if you get rid of Ashley, you've got, I think, the best option for a takeover in terms of all the clubs you've got left to be taken over. I don't see anyone, like you're saying, you know, the infrastructure can be put in place. The fan base is there. They can become, you know, like City have tried to just make themselves this global thing, and that hasn't worked because the fan base was never there. These men, like we were saying, have got a 50,000 stadium and they're filling that out. Do you know what I'm saying? With a poor side. So, I'm surprised it's taken so long. Obviously, you've got Ashley there that you need to get rid of, but I'm still surprised it's taken so long to really get this thing pushed through because Newcastle, for me, are a potential threat to that whole top six scheme. I think if you invest properly and you do the right things, then they are the one team that could come and do some bits.
Yes, facts. Yo, JV, just move your camera back so you don't cut off your head. Yeah. Calm.
Just got a big head.
Off your head. Yeah, it's this guy.
We need to see that trim, brother.
You got your fresh trim. Go on, Stro.
Yes.
What's your thoughts on it? Because obviously you was the one who brought it up as a topic in the group. So what is your thoughts on it?
Well, first and foremost, there's 4 of them as part of an investment party and a fund. So there's 4 of us that are making up this takeover bid. 80% of it, I believe, is going to the Saudi prince, and the other 20% is split between the rest of them. Now, the rest of them, 2 of them are actually from England. So there's a reason why this is now coming to place. And just to touch on some of the points that the other guys have made is, number one, for any business owner or anyone who wants to own a football club, the first 2 you look at, Liverpool and United, 2 biggest clubs, most history, wealth of history, wealth of trophies. Then after that, then you start looking around. Newcastle's there, fan base is huge. Leeds,
I was going to say,
position Leeds are there.
Yep.
And then you start looking at the Evertons and the Aston Villas and even the Nottingham Forest because they've got European history. Like, they're a bigger club. So it's like, and touch on what Miles said, with what City tried to do is, and this isn't me just slighting City and everyone can say whatever they want, is City never had any history. They had League Two history. They never had genuine history. So I can see what they've tried to do, but you look at Newcastle and everything they've been through with the stadium, the training facilities. This is a giant that's just been sleeping, that someone's been waiting to wake up. And now that it's coming, And I put it in the group chat, and Miles, I don't know if you know this or not, but basically these owners, the four of them, have basically worth 10 times more than what City's owners are. That's frightening.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That is frightening. 260 billion. Let's just put this into perspective. That's more than PSG. I genuinely think this makes them the wealthiest club in the world, apart from the Chinese guys. That's scary.
Very.
And this is a point I've been thinking of, because obviously I knew this is one part or one thing I really wanted to talk on. You look at someone's comments a couple of weeks ago about if you don't match my vision, if you don't match my ambition, I'm going to look elsewhere. So here's the thing. So there's a very similar person who broke all the goal scoring records at Newcastle, right? Premier League. There's a very similar player who's been making them sort of comments. So if you're going to talk about ambition and drive, this project at Newcastle, once it goes through, is absolutely perfect for him, because he potentially beats the Premier League record at the club where Shearer did it. It will be spearheaded by him. And imagine that as the first marquee signing, Harry Kane to Newcastle. That is frightening stuff, because they would build that team around him, and they've got bags full of money. They could go out and spend it on whoever they wanted. Like, we're not just talking about City, PSG. You've seen what they've done. This is on a different level. They could blow everyone out of the water with this amount of money. That's the thing that's frightening to me.
That's an extremely valid point, you know. I did not look at it like that. But when you started piecing that together, that makes perfect sense. And the thing is, with the amount of money that the owners would have, them getting Harry Kane is easy.
Yeah, 200 million.
Sell at the right price.
What makes it scarier? What makes it scarier is if they do get Harry Kane, that means there are promises in place that say, look, not only are you going to be on a big wage, but this team is going to be built around you, and we're going to bring in some serious men to back you up.
That's the point. And the other point I wanted to make is, I say this from a purely love point of view, is I am glad they've not got Rafa Benitez as manager at the moment, because if you give Rafa Benitez this kind of money, that's even more trouble. Yeah. Because think about it, he's got a chip on his shoulder, yeah? One, for me, like, he took Gerrard's game to the next level. He was the one that made the people look at the Alonsos, the Mascherano's, like, he built them players. So he found them. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone knows them because when they were at us. So he's got a chip on his shoulder from that 09 season, the whole... I'm talking facts and how that went down with Fergie and stuff like that, yeah? So imagine if you were to give him that amount of money, right? That's that club, that infrastructure, a different owner. It's a different level. He's won everything everywhere. So I'm glad that they've not got him in place. So here's the other problem. What manager did he go for? Pochettino's perfect. Allegri's perfect.
Well, yeah. What you're talking about here is frightening in terms of the possibility of them going to getting taken over, having the funds, having the fans, having the infrastructure, then going to get Pops, then going to get a Kane. That is a fantastic platform.
Genuinely, if bookies were open, I'd be going first thing in the morning. I'd be putting on money for Poch to go there, and I'd be putting on money for Kane to go there.
The only thing is, with financial fair play, it wouldn't be able to, blow a $500 million in a season, would they? This would be a project which would take about 5 or so seasons, wouldn't it?
The thing is, with the I don't think they could throw $500 million at it, but we know how football runs. Like, look at we have the coronavirus here. We can't even go visit our families, but yet the Premier League and football authorities are talking about football coming back. When there's big money involved, they'll find a way around that. They'll do something to navigate how it is. Like, they'll set up a sponsorship deal or something of that nature where there's loopholes, and when you have enough money, you get away with it. It's like, look at
no. Do you want the biggest loophole? Do you want the biggest loophole? Who is it who's put the financial fair play into place?
Was it UEFA?
Newcastle in any UEFA competition at this moment.
That's true. That's a fair point. Still, they're not in no UEFA, so they wouldn't fall under. I don't know how that works. Actually, that's a great point. Could UEFA implicate any bans or any fines on them because they are not in UEFA competition?
So, for example, when did Manchester City get taken over?
Was it 08?
Yeah, 08, yeah. Right. The financial fair play issues came about from the 2011-2012 season, so there's 3 seasons before that where UEFA didn't have any say in it.
Right. You're making valid points here.
Mm-hmm.
You make a very valid point here, and looking at it a way that I didn't look at it at all.
So for example, if let's say 2 seasons time, I don't think it'd take that long, but then in 2 seasons, Newcastle then qualify for the Champions League that season. UEFA can then look back at the books the season before. Do you know what I mean? And they can say, look, in order to gain entry to UEFA competitions, we need to make sure that your books are above board. We need to make sure your revenue makes place, your sponsorships are in place. We need to make sure that matches up your ingoings, your outgoings, your expenditures, expenses, stuff like that. For the time being, they're not in any UEFA competition. There's no financial fair play in the Premier League. They can drop whatever money they could drop whatever money they ever wanted.
If that's the case, it's like a football manager thing then for them right now, then, isn't it? That's the case.
It literally is. And one other thing as well, we've spoke on it many a times on previous shows about the quality of the Premier League. All you need is 4 or 5 decent players, and you can shoot right up to near the top of the table. Sheffield United came up from the Championship, didn't spend a whole load of money, just got a solid manager with a solid players with a good system, and they're literally in the running to finish in the Champions League spots. So imagine if you actually throw 200, 300 million at a Newcastle with a serious operator, not necessarily Poch, but just any quality operator. Even if they went and got, say, an Allegri or someone of that nature, then went and got a Harry Kane and then 4 or 5 other players. Like,
just need to make them...
Go on.
No, go on.
No. I was going to say that just makes them a proper serious, makes them a serious threat to the top 4. They walk into the top 4. If the takeover happens, they walk into the top 4.
Yeah, they would. They just got to make sure they're not got Richie just swinging in them wild crosses.
You're allowed, man.
This guy wants Richie out. Get him out the club.
Right, Richie out. But that's what that is. But in terms of what Stroh was saying, I never looked at it like that. Because how I looked at it initially was, obviously from a United fan standpoint, that's how I look at everything. And I'm like, I do not want this to happen. I don't like Newcastle. I know you were saying you had a soft spot. I don't like Newcastle. And that's more so from the 90s previously. So it's like, that's why I don't. They're still one of the rivals. Just because they haven't been a threat doesn't mean I forget. Like, I've not seen United play Leeds in so long. I still hate Leeds. I still check for Leeds results now they've been in the Championship. I do not. People are like, oh, I want to see Leeds come up to the Premier League because it would be good to have the rivalry back. No, it won't. I'd rather see them get relegated to League One. Let's keep it 100%. Because Leeds are in the same position in terms of Newcastle, whereas if Leeds, like Stroh took it from me, but I was going to mention that if Leeds get taken over, they're in the same boat. Because with the things people forget about Newcastle and Leeds, these are the places where these teams are. They're the only
one city.
They're one city teams.
One city teams.
One city teams is different. I mean, one city teams is like, so it's like the support is there because they have no. If you're the only show in town, everyone's going to that show. That's what that is. So that's why I don't want to see, this is from United, because people would have said the same about City in the past, like, oh, I want to see City come up, turn. Now look, now they ain't going nowhere.
Literally, you know, my family in Leeds.
Yeah.
Leeds is one of them places. Everybody supports Leeds. There's not a Man United fan in Leeds or a Birmingham fan from Leeds. Everyone just supports Leeds.
Yeah, that's
black, brown, whatever. You're a Leeds fan. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what it is. So that's why I don't want to see Newcastle get taken over, because they are a threat. They have everything in place. Like one of you, I think it was you said, JV, in terms of it doesn't matter your form. When you go there, you have a tough game regardless.
Yeah,
the United have had the odd game where we've absolutely battered them at St. James's Park. But more often than not, you have a tough game. Like, it's not one of those you look to in the fixture list and be like, this is an easy win.
No.
Regardless, you're gonna have to, like, there'll always be a spirited fight, and the crowd will always have them up for it. So that's why I don't want to see Newcastle. But in terms of from a footballing perspective, they could become a powerhouse in English football, especially with the lack of quality of around. And if United are silly enough not to go and get Poch and let the Saudis go there, then that's on us. That's United's fit to me. United should be the ones the Saudis are. Don't take over. Go take over United. Then get Poch. How are we going to let Newcastle come in and take what should be ours? That's how I'm looking at it.
With them, you know what it is with Newcastle? Yeah. Even if we get Poch, whoever goes to Newcastle, they're going to be a problem. That's but they could end up with a better manager than Poch, bro. when these type of mad monies come about, they could end up with. I could see something mad like Mourinho ending up there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You know, anything could. It's like anything goes. It's like when Chelsea first took over, it was like, huh? Crespo. You know what I mean? Like what? What? You know what I mean? Everyone they bought, you was like, what? What? It was just a shock. You know what I mean? They were literally buying all the biggest players in the world at the time. You know what I mean? I even seen one of them. I seen like a meme or something. One of the Newcastle fans like, "Oh, watch me get Mbappe," and I laughed at that, and then I thought, do you know what I mean?
It's a possibility.
Money talk.
Do that easy.
Out here, B. Ain't no loyalty out here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Money talks, and they'll go there, even though Newcastle wouldn't necessarily be the best place for players in terms of not football, but like just as a city. It's not like
I could see Sterling going there.
Not like a Manchester. Yo, you put 300k on the table. Most men are going there. I'd move to Newcastle for 300k a week.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're feeding my family like that for the rest of their lives, you take me anywhere you want to go, bro.
I'm serious, man. Serious. Yeah, man. Have to remember, you know, man talk about loyalty in football, but you have to remember these footballers have to get the bag. Because I ain't being funny. A lot of these men who've probably been loyal, when they probably look back on it now, they think, probably should have done that. Apart from your Gerrards and your Lampards and your Giggses, there's a lot of men who've been loyal and they're probably thinking, I should have took that big transfer back in the day, you know. Because when you're 50, and you spent how many millions because you retired 15 years ago. You get what I'm saying?
It was the best person who did that was Oscar. So when he went from Chelsea to the team in China, Brazil basically dropped him from the national team and said, look, like you're not doing anything for us there. You're not facing any competition. He went, listen, I'm getting this money from my family because football's not going to be around forever.
Yeah,
I can't make this kind of money in the Premier League. I can only make this kind of money in China. So obviously, I'm going to do that for my family. Stay here for a couple of years and come back to Europe.
Yes,
there you go.
I agree with that. And you have to. People talk about like this loyalty thing, like that's dead. Get me? I've said this before. Like loyalty in football is dead. And obviously, you have the occasional player who will stay loyal, but let the top player at any club fall off for a couple of years. People will be talking, let's move him on. Or if a player goes out there and God forbid breaks his leg or gets an injury-ending tackle, they're not going to stand, and then you come back and you're not the same. They ain't going to stand by you. They're going to move you on.
Yeah, because they're going to want someone better.
Let me just add something, and I need you guys to see my hands when I'm doing this, yeah? Because these men that, you know, the people that say, oh, you should be loyal to your club, blah, blah, blah. Like, these are the same men that, like, you can't let these guys run your career and, like, tell you how to do things. It's just like saying, yeah, I'm going to listen to this guy because he wants me to go down this path. Why? I need to look after, like, my family, support my people. So if this is the way I need to go and do that, because, you know, you forget some of these people that become footballers actually came from nothing. And come from nothing. So their main goal, obviously, they love playing football, but then there's all this money attached to it. So actually, I can still play football, maybe somewhere not great, like where the competition is great, but actually the money is triple what I'm getting. So why am I not going to go there? So obviously, people will say, "Oh, yeah, he's just going for the bread." But if you put yourself in that situation, you're going to do the same thing. So you can't really, you know. I remember when, I'm from Ghana, so it's like the biggest thing that happened with any Ghanaian footballer was when Asamoah Gyan went to that Abu Dhabi team.
Yeah,
and that was a big thing. That was a big thing for us because it was like, you know, we were trying to compete in the World Cup and in the African Cup of Nations and stuff. And it was like, bro, you're our best striker. Why are you going to this crap team? Like, you know, you're doing, you know, some little bits in the Premier League, and now you've gone to this crap place. But you can't argue with him because he's gone and made his bread. And now when you go to Ghana, I think apparently he has his house on a hill and everyone can see the house from like wherever they are in the area. And he just like, he's balling. Like, what can you say? You can't argue with that.
You have to secure the bag, and you have to, obviously, as a footballer, yes, you want to win trophies. Yes, you want to be successful. But there has to be a mix, because he wants a winner's medal, but no money in your pocket or don't support your family. Like, there's a mix of both. So
let me throw a curveball to you, man. You men are professional footballers for the teams that you all support, yeah? If your rival comes up to you and doubles your wages, are you going there or not? And they say your family are now going to are going to be taken from this, and now they're going to like you're not even playing for your favorite team. You're just playing for like a Southampton or a this. You're just making a kind of average what the rest of the Premier League footballers are making. But then your rival team, so for us, Liverpool, whatever, they come to you and say, look, 250, just 250 a week. Are you coming?
Everyone bar Liverpool, yeah. I couldn't play for them. Everyone bar Liverpool, yeah. I could go City.
I'm going.
Because City is
give me an Arsenal shirt right now, bro. Put 300k down. I'm there.
Bro,
I'm showing up for training.
I will go there and I will make my mom, for everyone from my mom to my gran, sing "Never Walk Alone," bro. You get me? I hate Liverpool. You get me? I will make everyone. I'll tell you, man. You get in that ground, you better sing this.
You open your mouth. Open your mouth and sing. Let me see you sing. Open your mouth.
Put your shirts on. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
When those cameras come on you better be singing in full voice.
Yeah, serious. I would tell from mom to my gran.
I fully understand what you say. I fully understand what you're saying.
But for me, mine's different.
Could you do?
But that's your choice, which is good. That's your choice. No one can tell you not to go and play for this club. If you decide you don't want to do it because of your loyalty for your own club, that's your choice. No one can come to you and say, "Oh, you should play. You shouldn't do this because of that." Do you know what I mean? So
mine would have been loyalty for my own club. So obviously, mine's a bit different. So Liverpool fan, deep roots in Liverpool. Dad grew up in Liverpool. My uncles, my gran used to run pubs in Liverpool. Live in Manchester. My high school was Stratford High, which is opposite the PEC World. And from my playground at the high school, you can see Old Trafford. It's a 2-minute walk, if that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I was younger, because obviously, as you can imagine, growing up in Manchester, primary school, stuff like that, predominantly United fans. All the United fans, all my mates when I was growing up, was like, just support United. So my dad put a stop to that instantly and basically went, Liverpool shirt, presents, rest of your life. You will talk to your uncles, your aunties, your grands, your granddads, or there's United shirt and there's nothing behind it. And let me tell you why there's nothing behind it, because you will be disowned.
It's facts though. So let me ask you this. I already know the question, the answer to the question I'm going to ask in terms of, I don't think you'd ever play for United in that position, Strong.
Because I couldn't. I play for Everton. Yeah, I play for Everton.
Fair enough.
Okay. So you're saying to me, whereas I wouldn't play for Liverpool, but in that situation, City, yeah, even Arsenal, yeah, but just Liverpool, just me personally, I couldn't live with it myself. Even though I put all my family on, it's just me. Like, I would struggle to look myself in the mirror. You feel me?
No, so this was the big thing when Michael Owen moved. Like when his own dad comes out and says he's disappointed in him playing for United, that speaks volumes. And then that was the one reason why Liverpool fans never really forgave him, or can never really forgive him, because I'm in a similar situation. If I did that, my dad would never. Although he'd probably be richer than anything. I could still look after him with the money I was on anyway, potentially. Right. So it's like.
But check this though. I bet you his dad will still spend his bread though, innit?
Yeah.
And straight up. All this football, yo, it isn't paying your bills. It's bills at the end of the day, bro. Bills. Loyalty to a football club ain't paying no one's bills, boy.
I hear what you're saying, and that's where you have to morally stand on it. So say his dad coming out and saying that, and then he shouldn't benefit from that or spend money and all that, because I have one of my younger cousins is in like not lower league, he's like in youth systems in a Premier League side, and I already told him in that, and I was like, from young I said, don't play for Liverpool. I said City I can take. Get me? Bear in mind, I've helped grow this kid up. You feel me? I told him, I was like, do not play for Liverpool because we will fall out. Like, don't do it.
Okay, so he moves to Liverpool. And then he makes a check. He kills it there. He makes a check. And he's like, bro, man, obviously I did this for us. Like, I want us to live a good life, blah, blah, blah.
Wins Liverpool the Premier League.
Take this 100 grand now. Just now, take it. It's in your account. And then obviously in a few more years, I'll just be slapping you 50 grand every 6 months. Tell me he's not back in the family, you prick.
Yeah.
This man is sick, bro. These man is sick, bro. You man. And you man is the plot.
You know what? Because I would be so happy in terms of, because he's put the fam on. I don't know how I'd respond in that situation. But because he's put the fam on, he's put my uncle on, my aunt, obviously his mum and dad, my aunt, his aunt, meaning my mum, grandparents, cousins, his brothers and all that. So I can only respect him for that, innit? Like, that's enough respect. But I would struggle with it. I'm not going to lie. I would struggle with it. 100%. Don't get me mistaken, though, before let me continue. I do have my price, you feel me? It's just that for Liverpool, that price is higher.
No. But
My price
think
ain't high, bro.
Think back to the scenario, though.
Listen. He'd have to make me wealthy in it to the point where not only is our generation, because we're in the same generation, our generation is okay. The generation below is okay. Well, if you put that in place, I could look past it. But 100K, I'm like, nah, fam.
Yeah, but think back to the scenario that was put up.
Generational wealth. Easily be generational wealth. What
you could invest it, right? Yeah. Obviously, because I hear what you're saying. It depends on you could develop that into generational wealth. Obviously, we're talking about there's different things that could happen through that. I'm just talking just 100K straight. I'd struggle.
You see, like with Michael Owen's dad saying that, or could have went to everyone. How does he know my man's not broke? How does he know my man's not broke? You get what I'm saying, fam? And he's got to get these P's in to make sure all the rest of you man are still living your nice life.
Nah, because Michael Owen was the highest paid Premier League player at the time.
I know I'm
saying. Oh yeah.
You saying hypothetically?
Yeah.
His
dad doesn't know his outgoings. My man could have blown a lot of cheddar, could have lost money on a certain investment, this and that. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's money. I'm telling you right now, if one of my kids goes to play for City or Liverpool, I will go there and I'll wear the shirt, mate. You know what I'm saying? Rago. You get me? I will go there and I'll wear the socks and everything to the match, shorts and everything, bro.
Yo, V,
you know what? I do back it. You know how I know we back it because Liverpool were interested in my younger cousin. But he didn't go in it. He had bare interest, but Liverpool were interested. I told him, I was like,
if he ends up at Notts County, if he ends up playing at Notts County now,
yeah, man, you've got some answers. You need to answer for it.
Hold that on your life for the rest of your. If he ends up at Notts County and then gets transferred to Accrington,
yes, sir.
Hold that on your for the rest of
I'm not on you.
I'll hold it because he's still at a club. He's still at a Premier League club now, so he good. You get me? So I'll hold that and see how his career goes. You feel me? I'll hold that in it. I'll hold that because I know what he's like and the love we have for each other. That he wouldn't blame me for that because he has the same hatred for Liverpool I do in it. So he understands it. He understands.
All right, then that's different then.
Yeah, he understands. He gets it. You get me? He grew up around me. You get me? I helped bring him up. He grew up around me, my uncle, his dad, all that. All of my family are United fans. This is a generational thing, innit? It's like religion over here, innit? Everybody's a United fan.
You see Michael Owen, yeah? You know how I look at it with the Michael Owen example? He never had to leave Liverpool in the first place. So the fact that he went to Real Madrid anyway just shows me that it's not a 100% loyalty thing.
He was after the bag.
Yeah, he was after the bag anyway.
Yeah.
His dad can't turn around and say that because he's already done turning the back on the mouth that's on the hand that's fed him. You know what I'm saying? So why can a man be surprised by that? Do you get what I'm saying? But at the same time, he was still spending when the man went to Real Madrid. He was still spending that Real Madrid bread. If his dad was giving him Real Madrid bread, if he was giving Real Madrid bread to his dad was spending it. So I'm not hearing it because it's United. You get what I'm saying? Man, I fickle out here. I'll never listen to a fan, to tell me as a pro who to go to. At the end of the day, my man's probably going home and eating toast and beans, fam. You get what I'm
saying? I hear what you say. You broke up, fam. You breaking up? Say that again. You breaking up. Go on.
I'm probably going back to my gaff with my Ferrari and my full fridge and this and you know what I'm saying. So nah.
But I think because obviously before we move on, we're looking at singular things. If, say, for instance, Liverpool do want you, I highly doubt if Liverpool want you that's your only option. I highly doubt that.
No. So the point I was trying to make.
Obviously, I can't remember the Michael Owen situation because I didn't follow it. I still can't believe United picked him up. But I'm sure there was someone else in for him who was at Manchester United. But then obviously we don't know his financial state, if he was secure, etc., and all them type of things like that. But I understand why his dad. I get it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I said, I have a price in it. It's just that my price is extremely high. That's all that is. At least I'm honest about it. And it's even higher for Liverpool. Like, we're talking that, it's even higher for them. Like, well, go on, Stro. What are you saying before we move on?
No, I was just saying the point I was trying to make was obviously the whole hypothetical scenario was if they double your wage. So you could still be on a decent wage to secure your family anyway. Do you know what I mean? So that's the way I looked at it that's the way I looked at it, for example, was like if you're a Premier League player and you're playing for a team, you're going to be on decent money anyway. Like I came from a family where we didn't have much. So having any sort of money is decent. Do you know what I mean? So I know I could secure my family that way. So it's like double my wages. But so yeah. It's all hypotheticals anyway.
Yeah, so great topic, Miles. That was a good one.
That's a great topic.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, listen, I think about this stuff on a daily, bro.
Yeah,
daily. What if Arsenal just came up to me one time, knocked on my door, and were like, bro, 300k, are you coming? Yes, I am.
Arsenal, yeah. Like I said, Arsenal, yeah. City, yeah. Newcastle, yeah. Even Leeds, I'm like.
Okay, but then when I say Arsenal, I guess people watching this don't know that Arsenal are my number one hated. I hate.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, secure the bag. That's why I can't hate. Like, if you secure in the bag, fair enough. Like, secure the bag. I'm all for. I can't be at anyone securing the bag. So if a family member of mine is securing the bag and that's helping secure me and everyone else, I wouldn't be mad at them. I just look at them like, yo, was there no other way?
You still ask questions, you're a joker.
Like, is there no other way? Like, was this it? Is this what you had to do with it? Like, surely there was some other way.
Flawless never turn into a football agent.
Yeah, I can't do that. I wouldn't do that.
You'd be a horrible agent, bro.
Like, look, Liverpool want to sign you for 500k like a week, but I've got Accrington Stanley over here, yeah? 25 grand.
Get that 25k.
25 might be a bit too much. Maybe 20. Liverpool 500, but 20 Accrington Stanley. Like, take this.
But that's Liverpool. We hate Liverpool. We can't go there.
Yeah, that's why I can be not in it. Like I'm saying, yeah, it's what it is. My stroke. On to the next topic.
So it's a 2-pointer. So Premier League. So first and foremost, for all the, this isn't aimed at you, man, because you, man, actually have sense. For all the stupid Manchester City fans, the stupid Manchester United fans, Arsenal fans, the Premier League have basically come out and said null and void has never and probably won't ever be on the table. So the season will continue. Unfortunately for you, man, we are going to win the league.
Yep.
And then secondly, the plan is, I know we touched upon it last week, but obviously, as you can imagine, it's going to be a recurring topic because everything changes, and with lockdown being extended and stuff like that, the plan is for the Premier League to return behind closed doors, as I mentioned previously, but the date that they're now aiming for is between June 6th and June 8th. The plan is that every game will be played live, whether it's League 2, League 1, Championship, Premier League, streaming facilities online, as well as broadcasting.
I didn't know that.
So, yeah, it's going to be a wealth of football.
He's got all the stats. But, yeah, so they're saying so they're looking at what, June 6th to June 8th, you just said?
Yeah, it's either going to, on the Saturday, which is June 6th, or on the Monday to June 8th. Between then is where they're planning for English Football League and the Premier League to return. Premier League specifically, they're going to be looking at Wembley and St George's Park. As I mentioned, it's going to be like a little World Cup style where you're on site, you're regularly tested, broadcasters are on site, regularly tested, referees on site, regularly tested. After every game, making sure that everything's sanitised, everything's healthy, making sure everyone's well protected. But first and foremost is because the Premier League have got too much money where they can lose if they don't continue the season. So
that's all it comes down to is money. That's the only reason why they're trying to bring it back is money. I was thinking logically, the Premier League should end. Logically, I don't see how anyone can disagree with that because we've got this pandemic. That's something that's never happened before, and you don't want to affect next season and transfers and everything. So really and truly, I do think that it should have been voided. The only reason it's being brought back is because people's pockets are not being filled. That's the way the world works. So long and short of what I'm feeling to say is that not because Liverpool are winning the league, but I feel like for their health and sake, because you're going to have to now test people before the games. Obviously, fans can't go into the stadium. So it's probably going to be played behind closed doors.
Yeah.
And if it's not, you're putting everyone's health at risk. So they'll never do that. But you're going to have to test every man, all the players, the refs, the staff, everything, just because you want the money to line your pockets. And personally, I think it's wrong. I think if anything, like the world isn't really set up to stop running for any amount of time, but where this thing has come and has meant that everything has had to stop, I feel like you do have to take that into account and just shut off the league, man, and just go again when you can. I even think the start of next season will be interrupted. So
yeah, the main problem with this is UEFA are putting a lot of pressure on domestic leagues. So for example, Champions League, right? Your positions determine what pot you're in for the Champions League draw, for the Europa League draw. So if you've not got people in set positions like first, second, third, fourth, UEFA can't do them pot draws because they can't put you in the right pot. Some people can complain at that. UEFA basically come out and said anyone who doesn't finish their league domestically, and we don't have places where we know that you're available for Champions League, will have UEFA Champions League and then UEFA competition stripped off them for the year.
They should they should just restart the season. I think, like, just okay. Maybe you can change up the fixture list and do whatever, but the same teams from last season have to be in the same tournaments. I just think it's the most. It's not the most popular way, but
See,
it's the most.
I like the way Belgium did it. So Belgium did it. Look, your positions stand. The two teams from the league below automatically come up. No one gets relegated. 5 teams get relegated the season after.
See,
that's awful, man.
See,
I don't like that.
Yeah, see, with this, if they void it, there's always going to be someone that loses out. So this is why I've said time and time again, I've said it on this show, previous shows, they need to, what's what I'm looking for? They just need to wait and then get the season finished. And then once at least the season after, they can start and sort that out. This season cannot be voided because there's too many people losing out. Because even the way Belgium do it, and you're saying 2 teams come up, then 5 teams go down. So that means, it can't.
Here's why what you're saying to me doesn't make sense. For me, it has to be voided because the majority of people are going to lose out if it's voided, right? Which means everyone loses out. Yeah. Because with this pandemic, everyone in life is losing out. Mm-hmm. No, but what you're trying to do with carrying on the league is make sure that whoever's going to win the league is kept happy. Whoever is getting money in their pockets because of the games being played is kept happy. It's all money driven. Whereas not just realizing that, look, we all have to take a hit from this because the world has taken a hit. Yeah. Everyone has to take the hit. Liverpool have to take the hit and restart the season. United have to take the hit and restart the season in the Europa League when we're trying to go for Champions League. I get that as well. Let's say we were in the final of the Europa League and it happened then. I would still say that the league has to be redone and we're put back in Europa League because everyone has to take the hit. You can't bring up what you're trying to do now is shoehorn different things in just to suit the people who are making money and possibly going to win the leagues. You're trying to bring people up from the lower leagues and then say they should come up just to suit them. But then the people who are in the relegation zones shouldn't go down. But then the people who are in the top positions in their leagues haven't won those leagues. So you're just trying to help them out and say, oh, yeah, but at the same time, the people who are in the relegation zone shouldn't go down. Well, you're helping these people or you're doing something for these people and not doing something for these. It doesn't make sense.
That's my point on it in terms of null involved in the season is that we just don't know what would have happened. And this could change. Everyone has taken a hit, and I agree with that. But we don't know what's going to happen. And this could change the history of or the next 4 or 5 years of success or being unsuccessful for certain clubs. Because even if it is, all right,
that's no one's fault.
It's no one's fault. Yeah, that's true. But if 2 teams come up and then say 2 teams come up and then it extends the league, so that would be not a 20-person league, it'll be a 22-person league. So say after the next season after, at the 38 game finish mark, you're top of the league, but them extra 2 games then cost you the league. Even though it is nobody's fault, I'm going to be annoyed. If you're not at the top of the league next season after 38 games, and then come 39 and 40, we don't top the league, we didn't win the game because 2 teams didn't get relegated. That would irritate me. Obviously, I'd be irritated about United not winning the league because we've messed up the last 2 games, but there's too many variables. I just think, in terms of what Stroh was saying, I like the idea that there's regular testing. All there needs to be is a cure, and this can run. Once you have a cure like you would for the common cold, it can work. But these are trying to rush it, like you said, because of money, which is just money driven.
Yeah, because it's like, so obviously we've spoke about the big topics when it comes, or the big financial things, but then there's other things that we've not really discussed. So it's like we've talked about player contracts. Phil's made excellent points last week, for example, when we were in the studio as well. We've talked about obviously the TV broadcasting, but it's like I briefly touched on it, the kit manufacturing. Certain teams are obligated to wear that kit for the season, so you can't really null and void the season because then one of them breach contract, they're then going to go after the club, and then the club are just going to reimburse it to the Premier League, and then that's just more money lumping up for the Premier League. This should have been sorted out immediately. Once they realised that something would have done, someone should have had a backbone in the Premier League and in the EFL and just said, look, we're doing this and we're sticking to it. The reason why it's got so sticky is because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know. The fact that null and void's never been on the table from the beginning doesn't make any sense. And this is coming from a Liverpool fan. Doesn't make any sense.
They had to, if they were going to null involved, I'll let JV chime in on this before we finish the show. But if they were going to null involved this season, they should have had everything. It should have been spoken about in depth, and they should have had everything in place.
It should have been one of the first.
This is what's going to happen for teams in the bottom three. This is what's going to happen for teams who are going to get promoted. Teams in the playoff. Teams even mid, like I said, the difference in between in finishing 10th and then say 8th. That prize money then that you receive for finishing 8th could then enable you to get a player that shoots your season up next season and enables you to finish 5th. Yeah, I mean, so it's like there is small margins and things of that nature, but they should have spoke about this. And as we know with footballing authorities, they ain't the brightest. And we've seen this time and time again, was they mess up simple things. So never mind something as complex as this, but go on, JV.
You know what I think? I'll keep it short and sweet. I think that just it's something called lip service. Yeah, this is plain and simple lip service. You know why they don't? You know why the null and void's never been on the table? Because this is the football. This is football. The footballing bodies we're speaking about. The government who run the countries don't know what's going on with this thing. So how the football people can tell you the season? How they can tell you that the season's coming back in June? But my man said yesterday we're on lockdown lockdown's been extended. Makes no sense to me.
True.
Yeah. I can't watch the politicians on the news say lockdown's been extended, but then the Premier League come out and say football's back in June. No, they don't marry up. Two things don't marry up. Do you get what I mean? I think it's simply lip service to stop all those type of people from going absolutely insane with not having no football. Yeah, it's lip service. I'm telling you now, no one knows when this is coming back. That's why nothing's been planned, because it's so out of the ordinary that they don't have a clue. It takes them ages to sort out something normal. FIFA and UEFA, we know this. FIFA, UEFA, the FA, all the footballing governing bodies, they take forever to sort something out. You know what I mean? Like I've even said on a previous show about this point, the whole thing of when VAR, we needed VAR to come in, was from a Frank Lampard goal. Frank Lampard is now a manager. So to instate something like VAR, how long would take them to instate some sort of, null
and void in the season?
Yeah, some not even just a null and void, some sort of outcome. That problem, what we have now have VAR with, is a problem that was always existing in football. Yeah, that was a always existing problem. Yeah, and it took him that long to come up with it. This is a problem which nobody knows the solution to. I don't know how they can sit and tell us football's coming back soon. That is lip service of the highest caliber. That is something. That is like just shut him up. It's like something I tell my son just to shut him up for a bit. Yeah. We'll do that tomorrow. I'm sure I said something like, he asked me for something today. We'll do it the next few days. Yeah, I have no plans on doing that with this kid.
He has no idea what you promised.
Yeah, kind of like what you do with your woman when she nagging you, like, we'll get it done. That type of thing. You do it to a female.
That's what they're doing to us. They're treating us like some gal. The Premier League, they're treating us like some gal. Just telling us anything to just keep us hush. Yeah, that's what it is, bro. They don't know when nothing's coming back. You get me? It makes no sense. I was on BBC yesterday. They're telling me lockdown's extended. You can't then tell me this is going to be started back in June. I'm not having it. I'm too old for that. I'm 30. I can't lie to. No next man can lie to me, bro. I'm too old for that.
Well, yeah, man, this show has flown by. So before we finish, Cameraman Miles, give out all your social medias where people can follow you, find you, and what you have coming up or going on. Like,
man, Cameraman Miles on Instagram and Twitter. As far as what I've got going on, not a lot, boys. Corona, but not a lot. I'll be 100% honest. No, but Like, yeah, just working as much as possible. I've got a music page that I'm dedicating everything to music promotion, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, check out my socials. You see all of that there. And yeah, man.
Check that out. JV, give out your socials. Obviously, you just joined Twitter as well. You're enjoying yourself, so give out your Insta.
Finally.
I just got Twitter, man. Like I said to you the other day, I feel like I just got MySpace 10 years late. Feels like, you know what it feels like? It feels like when I first got MSN back in the day, bro.
MSN,
that's what it feels like.
That.
Age there. Certain man are listening to this like, MSN? What's MSN? You know what I'm saying?
That's taking it back. But yeah, give out your socials, family.
Socials are Instagram is j.v.89 and my Twitter, I think I gave this out wrong the other day. It's jv8914.
Yeah, that's it. You know, you could switch that and make it like your Instagram.
Yeah, make them the
same if you want. Yeah, we'll sort it out, man. We'll sort it out. But yeah, people. This guy. Yeah, go on, Stroke.
Mr. Bloodstraw on Twitter, and then Ryan Waymond AWF on Twitter, Mr. Bloodstraw on Instagram.
There you go. And obviously, once this is uploaded, I'll make sure I tag everybody's socials. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram, people. That's me, Flawless. Follow Pi Radio as well at Pi Radio UK on Twitter and Pi Radio UK as well on Instagram. So that's the same. And we'll be back next week, 7 to 8. Like I said, if you're listening to this live now on Pi Radio, immediately after this has gone live on air, the video will be up on YouTube. Just type in Sarcasm City, you'll see us promoting it, and then the audio will be out on the Pi Radio, Spotify, and iTunes. Make sure you download the Pi Radio app also as well. Yo, Cameraman Miles, salute for coming on. Great show.
I love it as always, man. Love it.
Man, salute for coming on, man. Much appreciated. And we will be back next week, people. Salute.